So we're here in the village of Martin with Sharon in her lovely council house that was built a few years back, and I'd just like to ask Sharon about what it's like living in a straw-bale council house.
I'm a real big fan of them. I felt really lucky to have been given it when I did. It was 3 years ago that we moved in, and it's been the best thing that's happened to me in those 3 years. It's such a lovely house. It's warm. The heating costs are much lower. The water is my lowest bill. I'm actually in credit with water because of the rainwater harvester we've got in the garden. And we pray for rain so it fills up all the water butts, and it's made us very eco-friendly, which we weren't before. It's made us more conscious of that, even the children.
Great. Did you know what a straw-bale house was like before you moved in?
No idea. I knew a sort of a general knowledge of eco houses, but nothing to the extent that they are and how brilliant they are. I was quite ignorant, really.
And how does this one feel different to other houses that you've lived in?
I suppose because I've been here 3 years, it's quite hard to distinguish. It's much warmer. The atmosphere's better. When I first moved in, I felt every morning when I came down, the light that comes through those big windows makes you feel like you're on holiday every morning. And it took me a while to get used to that, how bright it was. And I like art, so I do a lot of painting, and that natural light is incredible. We quite often have to have the skylights open. It gets so warm in here that we have to let fresh air in regular. So you could never say it was cold. I've never been cold in here, ever.
How much do you have to have the stove on during the winter?
Only on really cold days. If it's a mild day, you don't need it on at all. And if you did, you'd have to have the door open because it would get hot quickly. But on very cold days, I like to keep it going all day, really. I just keep stocking it up, and it heats the water, everything about it. I mean, that is the only heating we've got in the whole property, and it's enough. We don't need any more than that.
And does the heat from that stove keep the bedrooms warm enough?
It does, especially because it goes through the children's room. That room gets really warm, so it's great for them when they've had a bath. They're never shivering, and it's fabulous. It heats the whole house.
So really the flue from the chimney goes between the rooms, doesn't it, upstairs?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it goes through a little. There's a cupboard in the children's room, so it's blocked off, so it's safe, so they wouldn't get burned. But the heat will obviously generate through into their room then. It's fantastic.
And the design of this house is a bit different from conventional houses, isn't it? Because there's like no separate rooms downstairs apart from the utility room, the toilet.
It's the open plan, I think, is one of the things I love so much about it. It's especially if you've got small children, you are constantly you can see them at all times. They're never out of your gaze. And wherever you are, even though there is a dining area, a living area, a kitchen area, we need one telly. We haven't got to have three for different rooms. We can all see one in the same room. It's really. I wouldn't want to go back to lots of rooms now. I think I'd feel closed in.
Because some people say they think they might find that a bit strange, not having separate rooms. But was it strange at first, or did you just take to it?
I loved it, loved it straight away. That I could see them, that I never had to keep stopping what I was doing to go and check on them. They can even play outside because there isn't a part of the house I can't see them. So they're more safe here than they've ever been anywhere else. I absolutely love it. The open plan is definitely a positive.
And have you had to any difficulties putting pictures up or shelves or anything like that?
No, not at all. I've kept, obviously, on the actual straw walls, I've kept them to a lighter picture. I've only put heavy pictures on the dividing walls. But no, it hasn't caused me any grief at all. And I've had to do it all by myself. So it's actually been quite easy. I haven't needed anybody's help it's been amazing. Really
what about painting and decorating? Have you had to do any of that?
Not yet, so it's lasted really well for 3 years. It's due, it does need a touch-up now, but it's breathable paint, so I have to make sure that I get the right one and make sure that my housing officer okays the paint that I get first.
Is that what they said to you when you moved in?
They've sent me all the details and that on a letter for me to make sure I get the right one. But they've been good, and the light bulbs were quite hard to get for a while. But now I've found a supplier, it's easy, but it took me a long time to find the right supplier for them.
Right, so these are the low energy bulbs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I suppose are getting more common everywhere now, but at the time when I first moved in, it was quite difficult to replace them.
So would you say your electricity bills are a lot less than they were in your last house, or is it about the same?
Slightly less, I would say. I wouldn't say it was dramatically less, but it is definitely less than it used to be. And I'm at home all day, so there's always the telly's on, or there's always electric being used, and you would have thought it would have been far more than have actually been billed for. Yeah, it really is a low cost of living here. We're able to do a lot.
What sort of fuel do you use in the stove?
Just logs, just seasoned logs, hardwood preferably. Yeah, we don't use coal or anything like that.
And are they easy to get hold of?
Yeah, I can get them delivered to the door.
Great.
Yeah, very easy.
Yeah. Great. And do the kids like it?
They do. I suppose they don't remember not being here, so for them it's sort of all they've known, but they're more eco-aware than they would have been normally. And their school friends all know the straw house. They all came when it was being built to have a look.
Did they?
So the school are really fond of these two houses.
Yeah.
So everybody in the village is aware of it. And they quite often will ask the children about how different it is in a straw house. And obviously a child's first reaction was 3 little pigs and the wolf.
Yes.
And we've sort of carried that on with us, what we call ourselves. Because of the straw houses, but yeah, everybody's been far more educated on it in the village, as to what they and why they're built.
Well, that's good. Great. Thank you very much.
You're more than welcome. Thank you.
Oh, that's fantastic.